Hi guys, welcome back to the Improvement Season podcast. It's me, Steve Hall, as always, and on the other end, Pascal Floor. And Pascal said he's hungry, so
yeah,
we better be not talking too much about food this week.
Nah, that's all right. It's just because I didn't really have the normal typical food that I normally have at around like 10, and now it's already 1.5 hours later. This has to do, and we were just talking about it off air, because I did a favor for a friend of mine picking up a bag that was stolen, and he's not living in Berlin, so he asked me to pick it up from then the bureau that actually notified him that his bag was found again. And it was, of course, with Berlin, it's kind of like each and every single big city. It's kind of the same when it comes to London, Steve. I do remember the time when we were coming from Birmingham and the trains weren't actually riding anymore. And so who was it again? Harry? No. Gordon? No.
Oh, yes.
Harry
this was for the WMBF UK,
exactly.
and
From the
all the trains were screwed.
Exactly.
Yes.
Beginning of November. No. End of the 31st of October. And then we were all very exhausted, all dieted down. And then the trains didn't leave anymore from Birmingham. So we actually then rode quite late on that day from Birmingham to London. And then, of course, he dropped us at the northern part of London, which is totally acceptable, of course, that is. And we had then to travel from the northern part of London into the city, and it still took me like, I think 1.5 hours just to get to my hotel room. And it was kind of the same here as well. We had to get to that office building, and it took me like 1.5 hours to get there, 1.5 hours to go back. And also, of course, like half an hour to get all that stuff sorted. So a little bit far-fetched. This is why I couldn't really get my usual food in or meal in. But I mean, there are worse things, right?
Yeah, I remember that because I don't think any of us were particularly satisfied. Well, I don't know. I think you were pretty happy with how things went on that day, but like me and Jess had like expectations. You didn't have expectations, so you went in, you just enjoyed the shit out of it. I loved seeing you on stage because I just remember how much fun it looked like you were having. But me and Jess were both disappointed with our placings. I remember thinking I hadn't placed top 3, so I hadn't got the qualification for Worlds. And so I just remember being a bit moody in the back of the car, and we were all kind of shoved in there. But man, yeah, thank God Harry was there and able to give us a lift.
Yeah, not just that, but also in terms of we were hungry. We wanted to have proper food, not just like, because we were very much crammed onto the back of the car. And Gordon was on the front together with Harry. He was full of joy, full of energy. He was talkative and all that kind of stuff. And we were just like sitting in the back row, hungry, you guys moody. I was just tired in general. I just wanted to go to bed.
What was I going to say? Yes, you had to go even in rush hour. And whenever I go through those sort of things, there's a few things those sort of experiences remind me of. One, how grateful I am for working from home, for having a gym that's a walk away, like little things like that. You don't maybe appreciate once you've had access like that for years. But I know when I worked an office job, like the commuting and all of the time that felt like it was wasted through that. But the other thing I'm reminded of is when those things happen, actually how much dead time that I somehow feel during the day where I'm like, oh, I could actually somehow have done this 2 to 4 hour event and got all my other stuff done in the same day. What am I normally doing for those 2 to 4 hours?
Yeah.
I forget there's a rule for that. Like however amount of time you have for a certain task, you're to get it done in that time. I forget what the rule is.
For me personally, Steve, if I were to work in an office or remote, and it was also with a lot of commuting, such as so many people have when they are living in a bigger city because they can't afford living in the midst of the city, or they simply don't want to. And to be honest, I'm one of the latter. I lived in Berlin for over 12 years, and I couldn't see myself living in that city another time, at least not in the midst of the city. I find it noisy, I find it dirty, I find it disgusting. There's no special flair to that city anymore for me personally. While I was younger, it was quite the opposite. But now I kind of despise and hate it. And every single time that I'm getting into Berlin, I'm just like a little bit like, ugh, I want to get away as quickly as I can back to my quiet and lovely environment. And if I had a job in the midst of the city and I would need to drive for like, I don't know, an hour to work and then an hour back again, I would need to be paid a lot for this to actually then work out overall, because I couldn't see myself getting into that position anymore. I would rather than earn a little bit less, but not commute, rather than spending that much time commuting each and every single day. This like, if you're just like summing this up, it's kind of at least 10 hours per week where you're just like sitting on the train. And sometimes those are delayed and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Oh man, the delays would crush me. I would hate that. When the only good news with that was, at least in the position I was in, I was low enough down where if I was delayed an hour, it's not like I had to work an extra hour. It was just like, oh yeah, like that's fine. But if you're of a seniority and you're like delayed an hour, it's like, I don't know, you have a certain amount of work you have to get done. Like you have to get that work done. Like,
and this is once again talking from a very privileged position. Because I absolutely understand that there are plenty of people in the world who would wish to be in a position of like commuting for only 1 or 2 hours and being paid pretty well or so.
Yeah, it's definitely a privilege, but it does make me like I think there was a time where people thought of online coaching as like sipping cocktails on the beach, and it's just like a complete like amazing job in that regard. You can go over and travel across the world, and that's definitely not well, maybe you could if you had like a small number of clients and you weren't really doing that much, but I mean there's a lot more that goes into it. But some of the major benefits that even I sometimes forget about is, especially because I've been doing it like 10 years, but the lack of a commute. And like I got in the tube and I'm like, oh, this is horrible. And Charlotte's like, hey, it's not even busy now. And I'm like, oh God, it gets more busy than this. I couldn't deal with that. But I think sometimes those things just become people's normal. Like if they commute an hour a day and maybe they don't realize how much it's taking away from their life. And I don't know who says it, but it's just a common thought, right? Like if you're doing a job you hate or dislike, think about doing a job that you love and how much better you would be at that job and how much more life fulfillment you'd get from it. So yeah, I think we're fortunate we found kind of the fitness industry and online coaching at the time we did and have been able to develop careers that way.
I wonder whether some people are getting into kind of online coaching because of those reasons, and also because of a little bit of convenience. Because getting outside of, I don't know, working in an office, having a boss telling you what to do, all those kind of things are mostly off-putting for a lot of people. And especially if you're then doing bodybuilding and you enjoy that, I think it's very much normal to think, all right, why shouldn't I become a coach then?
Yeah, what's the joke? It's like you do one bodybuilding show or whatever it is, and now you're suddenly a bodybuilding coach. And it's like, that's not really the criteria.
I don't really think that many people get into online coaching, especially out of the drive to help people. They are doing it mostly for convenience, maybe because they think it may be lucrative for them, instead of really. I mean, there may be a byproduct of it, and there may be a part of like, I want to help people, or I want to work with people rather. Because right? Most online coaches don't really help people in the sense that they are really truly improving their lives. It's more like, okay, I can help you getting to your desired outcome, and that's it. Because in my understanding, and this is also once again a sentiment kind of question, my understanding is like helping people where you're doing something good for someone else that truly enhances their lives. And most of the time, getting a six-pack, getting to lean levels is a minor enjoyment in the initial moment, but doesn't really change anything significantly in the life of the person.
Yeah, I think it depends how the coach gets that person there. Like if you teach them how to have done it and like skill sets and habits that are going to lead to a healthier life long term, that could be huge for someone. Or if they're lost and confused and they've tried really hard. But unfortunately, I think the majority of online coaches is just like follow this diet plan, follow this training routine, do all this cardio. And it's like, yeah, if you hit someone hard enough, or if you hit a nail hard enough, it doesn't really matter where you hit it. It's going to eventually go into the place it needs to go. Doesn't mean it went in there very well.
Yeah. And once again, I don't want to play it down or talk badly about even our practices. The thing is, though, we know for a fact that there are massive amounts, copious amounts of people, online coaches, and just like personal trainers in general, who do such a shitty job. And if the true intention is to truly help people, you would be interested in then, of course, also improving as a professional, and by that, doing a better job. Because then you can probably help more people and even more efficiently.
Yeah, it's strange how the landscape's changed because of the growth of like business mentors and everything. And therefore, I think it's way more money. It feels more money focused than ever before. Like 10K months were nothing we even ever discussed as we were like trying to build Revive Stronger and that sort of thing. It just wasn't part of the conversation.
The typical 5-figure monthly income.
Yeah, it's wild. And so I do think you're right. People, especially maybe some younger individuals who they're not as experienced in life. They see these business mentors promising, work with me for 3 months. You'll be on 10K months by the end of that. It's like, oh, that sounds pretty freaking good. That's
the thing, it's mostly about incentives and how much you have to invest to that. And if someone is telling you like, or just talking about, I'm working with people, I'm a bodybuilder myself, and I have a full roster making XYZ money. Now, of course, that is appealing to someone who's into bodybuilding as well, or not just bodybuilding, but into lifting as well. It would be the same with each and every other sport. Like if there's a basketball player, right, who loves doing that, and someone else is saying like, yeah, I'm a basketball coach, and helping individuals become the best basketball player they can be, and I'm making like, I don't know, 15,000 per month, then of course someone would be like, yeah, shit, this is something that I could see myself doing as well. And there is no shame in saying that you mostly do it for monetary incentives. I think at least in Germany, it's something that you are basically not allowed to admit and say that you're driven by monetary incentives, or that how much it is that you're even making on a monthly basis. Whereas I think that the mentality, especially in the US, may be completely different when it comes to also success of someone else, where it's seen as a badge of honor. And here in Germany, when you have made it and you are earning a lot of money, you're immediately getting the stamp of like, you're arrogant, you're a narcissist, you're a fucking capitalist, right? You only want to do bad for humanity. And it's crazy. I mean, the mentality, how different it is. And I don't know how it is in Germany, but this is also why I could see, because personal trainers are working with people. If a personal trainer were to say like, I'm primarily doing this because of monetary incentives, then it would be quite off-putting. However, it's something that we've discussed in the past. The motive and the reason as to why someone is doing that doesn't really matter in the end, because the only thing that matters is, are they doing a great job and are they constantly trying to improve? And the reason as to why they are doing this doesn't really matter then, because if they want to earn more money and this is why they are improving and doing a better and better job, perfect. Why should it be then, I don't know, a little bit more of a moral thing than in the end?
Yeah, I agree. The only downside is that there's maybe some immoral practices that can go into being able to make more money.
But then they are not doing a great job. And this is what I've implied here as well and said, right? If they are doing a great job and they are improving in the process as well, then the reason and rationale doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think hopefully it's inherent that to have long-term success as a personal trainer or in the online coaching space, you need to be doing a good job, because like you said many times on here, you can only sell shit once, because once someone's bought something and it's no good, no one's going back there. And at the end of the day, because you're selling a service and you need to drive results, it's only if you have such broad appeal and I don't know, you have such marketing skills that you can get so many people through the door it doesn't matter that just as many people are leaving through the door on the other side.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to get into that position.
That's not solely exclusive to personal training.
No.
It basically applies to everything. If you're doing a shitty job, if you're offering a shitty service, after a while, people won't really come to you. Those businesses, and some doing a fantastic job in only offering one specific product. I don't know why I'm thinking about it, but one friend of mine, he was just going to an ice cream shop. And that ice cream shop is super funny, Steve, because it is very much, it left in the 1960s and it has never really evolved since then. Everything, if you see the pictures from the interior design, the menu and all that kind of stuff, it basically still looks like in the 60s. And the only thing that they are offering, I'm not kidding, is just vanilla ice cream. And they are doing it themselves. And they are still around. And that's freaking amazing.
Of everything.
Yeah, and that's freaking amazing. Simply because it just shows you don't need to diversify. You don't need to offer a huge palette of services. If what it is that you're doing is very, very, very good, people will come to you, right? Yeah. Just think about it, like ice cream, right? You're only offering ice cream. So many business gurus would come to that place and be like, only offering ice cream? You could do X, Y, Z and then diversify and all that kind of stuff and making extra revenue. Is that even necessary? And would it even leave a bitter taste because the other products wouldn't be as high of a standard and people would approach them and would never really taste the vanilla ice cream that makes them that special?
I always say this, I've said this so many times, but like you go to a takeaway place and if they do like pizza, burgers,
sushi,
like everything sushi, yeah. Mexican, like Chinese, they do everything. You know, it's all shit.
Yes.
And like if you go to a buffet in general, unless you go to a very high standard buffet, like that costs a stupid amount of money. But if you go to a buffet, it's generally not a great standard across the board.
That's the thing, yeah.
So I always say this to Charlotte with pizza places. I'm like, the less pizza choices they offer, the more inclined I am that it's going to be very good.
That's true. That's true. And this is also what I said in the past about Neapolitan pizzas, is if you can make a freaking fantastic pizza with just the dough, tomato sauce, and a little bit of cheese, man, you know how it's done. Because the dough, what is it? You know, it's flour, it's kind of salt, it's water.
Maybe a bit of oil.
Yeah, a little bit of oil. And that's basically it. And if you can make it like a pizza that leaves kind of a taste in your mouth that you can't forget. I mean, that's simplicity and mastery right there, in my opinion.
I knew we'd bring it back to food because your appetite's coming through.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So how are things on your end? I don't know if we've had like a good up. I know kind of been a bit up and down and your training split has been different for a while. You're back though on recent chat has been in a better place, right?
Much better place. The thing is though, I as I said the last time that we spoke about my back, I still don't trust it fully, and it's kind of still the thing. On certain days in certain positions I can still feel it. It's not painful, it doesn't really bother me, but I can still feel that something is there, you know? And I really do believe that it is some kind of a muscular thing, simply because of I never really stretch my lats, for example. You know, I mean, stretching mobility drills and all that kind of stuff for the lats or upper body. And I could see that there may be something to it where then, I don't know, something pulls the wrong way and it's just under constant tension, especially also maybe because of my Scheuermann's disease, that, it's always just under constant tension. And I need to kind of release it to some extent. And maybe some days are better than other days. I don't know. And I haven't yet found what really triggers it. I really don't know. Because, for example, yesterday I had a chest session, chest and quads. And just by arching a little bit on the machine bench, I could feel it flare up, you know. So it's weird.
That is weird. I really dislike things just generally with the body that crop up that aren't good, but you don't know why it happened. Sorry. Yeah. I'm just like, you can't correlate it with anything. You can't be like, oh, if I eat this food, this happens. It's just like, oh no, I have this problem with my stomach and I don't have a clue what it is, or
That's
my
the
elbow,
thing.
whatever it is.
The uncertainty was also bothering me big time. And then, of course, other things came into play as well with the hip, and then also, of course, the left knee alongside with that. And then also new tattoos and all the kind of shit came together at the same time. And right now, of course, so this year it was structured, but still needed a lot of alterations and flexibility along the way, simply because too many things happened, right? So winter holiday with the family, then winter trip with Katie only for like 5 days, then tattoo appointments, injury on the back, needing to modify things surrounding here, my left side of the lower body. So lots of modifications surrounding them, or based on the environment that I'm in right now. And while still trying to follow a certain structure. And that's basically what it all boils down to. And I think that it hopefully is also then helpful for not just my athletes, but also the listeners, that even if there's a time like this, most of the time you can still make it happen somehow. May it be perfect? No, but you can still make it highly productive and highly efficient, in my opinion. Right, and I needed to really make modifications and alterations here over the past couple of weeks. I needed to do it again. So, for example, when it comes to deloads, so 1.5 weeks ago, I had another process when it comes to tattooing, and now in 2 days from now, I will travel once again for then another 2 sessions of tattoo appointments. So, of course, this doesn't really align with the deload. So, what it is that I needed to do is take like 4 days of rest. Right, then go back into the gym, try my very best to really, really push it hard, and then rinse and repeat, do the same process all over again to the best of my abilities. And sometimes the tattoo doesn't really heal the way that you would like to, because it is at a body position where it's just under constant movement, and this makes it much, much harder than to heal overall. And then it could very well be that you then need to make further modifications and all that kind of stuff, because I had it here in my arm right now, right, that I'm covering and also then progressing on. And just on the elbow and all that kind of stuff, I completely forgot how much of a pain it can be, especially if you're then wanting to do some, I don't know, curls or pulls and all that kind of stuff. It's hard, This is why lots of modifications needed to occur here over the past couple of weeks and months by now, and yet I still have the feeling that the training sessions are progressive in nature, not the best, but still progressive in nature, and I'm doing the very best that I can do right now.
Do you, with the tattoo, did you have an option to do it a different way, or did you choose to get it every other week that you were getting it redone? Or is that just how it kind of works? It's
just, I'm discussing things with my tattoo artist, and then the way that it falls, I would say, like, okay, what's feasible for me? Because I always like to have the tattoo appointments on a Thursday and Friday, because at the first half of the week, I'm mostly busy with kind of client work, right? And then Thursdays and Fridays is a little bit easier, especially if I can like push my Thursday client check-ins 1 day ahead, and then I have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more room that I then can do a little bit more logistical stuff while I'm traveling. And then coming back and working over the weekend when I need to rest my arm anyway. And this is why then I suggested like, hey, it would be best to have like Thursday and Friday sessions. And if we're then discussing things, it just came up. And of course, there needs to be some time in between, because just here on the inside of my arm right now, I do still remember that arm, how much my arms were hanging down because it was so inflamed and so much water was just like accumulating in that spot. And the same happened here on that arm. It was so incredibly swollen and was just like hanging down like this. I kid you not, Steve. It was crazy. And of course, the skin is still a little bit tender to touch. And this is why we can't continue on that side. The side is basically nearly finished. We just need to do some finishing touches in terms of a couple of more cover-ups. But this is something where I already said to my tattoo artist, we have to wait with that because my skin is pretty much irritated. We need to continue with the outside of the arm now.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could have done it every month versus every 2 weeks, I would have been like, oh, I'd like plan it every deload, or like some sort of paradigm that was not so condensed.
I would prefer that, but the thing is as well, it's not just about me. He has plenty of other clients as well that he needs to organize, to schedule, and I'm not the only one who can then make requests and suggestions. And of course, there would have probably still been a possibility for that. But I'm also appreciative of the fact that someone is taking their time to do the artwork on me, even though, of course, I'm paying the money for it. So
I was going to say, you get it for free?
Exactly. So I could basically be like, yeah, no, I'm paying you for this, so do it X, Y, Z. But that's not the person that I am. I am someone who's most of the time, when it comes to stuff like this, still grateful. I still show my appreciation, because only because you pay someone money doesn't mean that you can allow to treat them like shit, or you can request whatever it is that you are dreaming of, basically.
Yeah, I was just thinking you could fill his books with someone else at that time and just fill you in, like you fill a spot in the future type of thing. So
yeah, but anyway. after the arm, I need a break anyway. So I just need a longer break, because I'm a little bit sick and tired right now again, because a lot of ink has been put on my body in a very short period of time. So yeah,
that's why I don't think I'll do back-to-back days or try and condense stuff if I can help it. I'll spread it out, because it's just, it's not fun, really.
The thing is, though, I'm just doing back-to-back stuff because of traveling.
True, yeah, it's across in Vienna. Yeah, I understand why you're doing that.
Because otherwise it would just be too cost-intensive. Yeah. Because the flight tickets, they still cost the same, whether I'm now actually doing back-to-back days or I'm splitting them up. Then the flight is still the same cost, but then I need to pay like twice or double the amount, because I have to book them twice. Exactly. That's the thing, right? And while I don't like it, Steve, each and every single time I'm sitting there under the needle and I'm just like questioning life in general, it's something that always passes, and always you come out of it and then you think back and be like, yeah, it was painful, it was inconvenient, but at the same time you're surviving it. This is kind of the hardship where I'm thinking it's self-induced, and also it's probably not as bad as many people have had it in the past. And as you may know, I like to listen to something like true crime podcasts, and also watching true crime things, and this shit that other people have gone through. And if you just, so you're sitting there and someone is actually then poking holes into your skin and basically ripping open your skin on a bigger area of your body. And if you think about that pain, it's already not nice, and it's quite inconvenient. But then extrapolate this pain and, I don't know, quadruple it or anything alike with what other people have endured and survived from shit other people have put on them. It's crazy to think. I can't even fathom what pain some people went through that is not something like, once again, a tattoo is self-induced, and it's probably a ride in the park in comparison to what other people have experienced. And that always kind of grounds me whenever I'm lying there.
I do the same, but with comp prep. Like if I'm ever hungry, I'm ever tired, like, and again, you get through it and you're like you're going through it and you're like, why the fuck am I doing this? But once you get through it, you look back, you're like, oh yeah, that was awesome. But also in the moment, I reflect upon what other people are going through and how much harder that is than what I am doing. Like, I'm a bit hungry. Not that bad. I'm a bit tired. Cool. I can deal with this. I'll be here tomorrow. So I completely agree with you there. Like, there's something to tattooing in the same way, like going through and enduring the pain and the discomfort and coming out the other side. I think it allows you to endure other things.
That's the thing. I think that stressful situations only, most of the time, sometimes they do definitely break you, that's for sure. Very much traumatizing things happen to you or people you love, maybe. But especially those kind of stressful times where it's also there, a little bit self-induced maybe, because contest prep is self-induced, tattooing is self-induced. And it's not the easiest. And I think that many people, especially the sessions that I have gone through, don't really think that many people will like that and would really love to sit still. And are even capable of sitting still there for like, for example, with the back, right? It was freaking painful on some parts of my back, and yet made it through, you know. And I know that there are people very much enjoying that pain even, and this is also something that I can't even fathom, that they have some kind of response to the pain that is actually then sexually pleasuring to them, which is crazy to think. But at the same time, I also take a little bit of pride and responsibility for sitting there and taking that burden and that pain on myself, because I know that there can't necessarily be anything bad coming out of that experience. Because that is one of those experiences that don't break you, but can only make you stronger, because once you have that, you have and do it that. And you realize, oh shit, I am actually capable of something like this.
Yeah, I'm always surprised how resilient the human body and mind can be to kind of just get through things. And all of this chat is making me really want to get another tattoo. I know I've got one that's half finished, but that one's going to take a while to get finished. So I don't really have much
During the
choice
contest prep, you're not actually going in there and getting a session in?
So with my artist, Sam Andrews, he's reduced his hours and he's booked out until like August. And August for me is too close to shows because absolutely. It's like a month out from a show or something at that point. So it's too close for me to worry about doing anything.
100%,
and then he's basically not free until maybe the year after. So I can't get that one finished, but it's whether or not I can find a spot with like someone like Simon Bell, who is in Liverpool earlier. But to get on his like client list is freaking hard in itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll be able to get anything before. Yeah, nothing new this year for sure, I don't think.
Yeah.
If I could get it in the next months, I would, because I could work.
Sure, that's early enough. But also during the time of like when I got my back tattoo done, I was cutting through it. And it was definitely a little bit tougher to push through those sessions. So the pain tolerance is a little bit lower, so it is actually a little bit painful, but not in the early stages of the tattoo itself. It's kind of the same thing, but later on, it's kind of like a training session. You go in there, you may be a little bit more tired, you know, but nothing crazy. Once you get the session rolled in, everything's fine. And then, though, you are hitting a wall much, much sooner. And then dragging through the rest of the workout becomes just a chore. And I think that everyone who has gotten exotically lean knows what it is that I'm talking about, especially when it comes to hard leg sessions or something like this. When you've done the first, sets of hack squats, hard round of hack squats, and you're doing the first 1 or 2 sets, and you think like, shit, this is only the beginning of the workout. How am I even supposed to survive this entire workout? Yeah. And this is something similar to what I had there as well when it comes to a caloric deficit. It is, of course, bearable, but at the same time, if you can avoid it, I would always recommend avoiding it, because it just makes things a little bit more inconvenient.
That makes sense. I never really thought about the diet having an impact on your ability, like your pain tolerance and endurance. Obviously, your recovery would be slightly down, I imagine, from the tattoo, but nothing that I'd be kind of too concerned about. But yeah, I think I'm done. I think my focus this year, my pain is going to be prep, not any tattoos.
Yeah.
That I have to wait to next year, which it's exciting. I've only got so much skin, and places I'm at the moment happy to get tattooed. So there's some delayed gratification in like the build up.
That's true. Let's take a short break and then be back with a little bit more chatter. Do you not see the progress you would like? Are you sick of writing your own programs? Or perhaps you need some accountability in order to stick with a plan? Then it's time to start working with us. We at Revive Stronger offer a truly personalized coaching service. You'll get more than just an email with some macros or random cookie cutter program. With Revive Stronger, you will be the center of our attention. You will receive your own fully individualized training protocol alongside a customized nutritional strategy. We created the coaching around your needs, wants, personal preferences, and your own unique lifestyle. Every single week, we delve into your program in order to make appropriate adjustments so that we
get the most out of your time and the best possible outcome. We help both female and male athletes to seriously change their body composition by adding more muscle mass and decreasing fat tissue. No matter if you're a competitive bodybuilder or just want to look better, if you need help with your progress and taking your physique to the next level, our coaching is for you. It's time to make a change. Sign up today and let's revive stronger.
We've been talking about the Conor spread now, Steve. Any updates? I would assume nothing really happened in the meanwhile.
Yeah, so I'm doing my weekly updates over on Instagram. I don't know. Part of me is like, should I just stop doing those? Because I don't think they get that much. I don't know how valuable they are, and they kind of feel just like a bit of a waste of a post. But I don't know. So maybe some people really enjoy them.
But
don't
not much
they
is happening. Actually create a lot of traction?
Not that I notice. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe when I'm actually lean, maybe they will. Like lean, like pretty shredded.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't know how much. I can see changes week to week for sure. But I think probably quite a lot of onlookers are like, yeah, you just look lean still. Like not much is changing. So I'm trying to make them a bit more engaging and have something a bit variable in the caption or in the photos or something. So anyway, not too much has changed. My calories came down this past week. So actually checked in with Cliff yesterday, so Monday, and Cliff hasn't changed my food for this week, thankfully. It's always funny because we talk about the Monday weigh-ins, and definitely this Monday weigh-in, I was like, man, I hope I'm down on the scale. Some Mondays I've not been fussed, but this Monday I was like, I felt the calories drop last week, 200, and I have been more hungry. And actually, I think I'm getting to that point of leanness where I can actually see the difference and feel the difference, notably in terms of my physique. Like towards the end of the week, the further I got from my refeeds, I was definitely flatter. My sessions felt more grindy. I didn't like how my physique was looking, but that rapidly changed as I refed across the weekend. And I was actually really happy with how I was looking on the posing check-in, which is on a Saturday. So yeah, my low days are still like 2,900 calories, and my higher days are like 3,400 or something. So it's like we said last time, the numbers don't really tell you much apart from I have a decent calorie expenditure to allow for that. I lost a pound on the week according to Monday, and I actually hit a new low yesterday, and it was like 186 pounds or so. And actually I was really happy to compare back to last 2021 prep and the photos. I was like, actually, how the fuck am I looking that different? I was like, whenever you post photos on social media, you're posting ones that you think are good. And that was on my feed, those photos I compared against. They weren't ones I just picked out from a video where I was looking bad. I didn't go out of my way to find bad photos. So I was like, wow, I'm actually like 4 pounds up and looking comparably as lean and much improved. So I was like, wow, I would be shocked if I gained that much muscle, but I'd take it. So I'm pleasantly surprised, and that check-in yesterday was the best my front relaxed has looked, and that's the pose I'm most concerned about because we know it's my weakest and it's the one that counts a lot. So that actually looked I looked X-framey-ish. So I was like, this is good. So I'm pretty pleased with how things are moving forward.
And how many people are now claiming on Natty?
No one in that post, actually.
No. Maybe over on Reddit. Have you checked Reddit for that?
Oh, I haven't checked Reddit for a while, actually. There was a post ages ago where I came up, but it's just, I don't know. If anyone follows like me and knows our brand and everything, it's just, I don't know. I think it's really evident that there's just, I'm in a hopeless enhanced if I am enhanced.
The thing is also, I've seen, and I know that you've seen that post as well, by someone whose name I don't really want to call out, simply because it would be a little bit disrespectful, because this person is going through a hard time another time. But I'm always baffled, and this isn't about him as a person. It's just about the effects anabolic steroids have. I am always shocked and surprised at the same time. It doesn't. So, Steve, you're not clueless to the fact that people are taking anabolic steroids. And I know that you know that they have a substantial effect and impact on someone's physique. But once again, each and every single time, I'm always shocked about that. When I see the before and after, or what kind of results they have. Because I've seen it, and I think that Jeremy Buendia was one of those guys as well, who then went off anabolic steroids and shrunk immediately. And I've seen it on that other individual as well. He needed to stop due to medical reasons, and immediately he's actually shrinking and downsizing. And if someone is actually then seeing those kind of things and still denies the insane effects anabolic steroids can have on the physique and the way that someone is blowing up, this is just being ignorant and naive, in my opinion, because that is crazy how much of an impact they can have.
It took me a while to know who you were talking about. I was like, which individual is this? Like, there's a few people that kind of came to mind, but I'm like, I don't know exactly who this
Maybe
is. Maybe
that's good, you know?
Now I think I know who it is, and yeah, it's wild. This is something, actually, I just saw a reel the other day. I don't know why it popped up, but someone was talking about anabolic steroids and basically saying this is something no one talks about, is the fact that when you are on gear, you are not in full control. As a natural, you do your training, nutrition, sleep. Like, we have a few variables that we can, and levers we can pull on to change our physique, but we don't have to pay someone for like an anabolic steroid to make sure that we keep improving or maintain gains or whatever it is. Like, we don't have these other things that we're kind of at mercy to as such, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it is wild. If that gets, like you said, I can't remember his name, but you said his name, the like Olympia competitor, right?
Jeremy Buendia.
Yeah. So like, he looks like a really good natural bodybuilder off gear. It's like, that's crazy to see that happen. And it's not, I don't know what his situation was. It looked like he was in a gym training, so it's not like he was stopping training. I don't know if he had to for a period of time, but yeah, it's we've spoken about this before, where as a natural, at least, you can get to like your late, like you look at Jeff Alberts, he's in his 50s, right? So he's still looking peak, like he's peak natural physique. But as an enhanced guy at that age, you may be tapering your dose, whatever it is, like you hit your peak maybe in your 30s, and then you're just downhill from there.
Yeah, and once again, I never really want to say or claim that those people aren't training hard, because most of the time they really do, and most of the time, like very high level competitors in the enhanced realm, they are also good natural bodybuilders, or would be very good natural bodybuilders. At the same time, though, those people who are saying that drugs don't do as much, that it's still, or that it is hard work in combination with drugs, I mean, you need to work hard anyway. So that's out of the occasion, right? Everyone needs to work hard, in quotation marks, to see muscular results. So this is out of the occasion, right? External factors, though, such as exogenous hormones that you're then ingesting, they are then making the difference. And then to see that someone is blowing up in a basically on a minute basis, and this is of course an over-exaggeration, and also once they're coming off, they're just like shrinking down like a balloon that you poke a hole in, and then still saying like, oh no, steroids, it's not making that much of a difference. It makes all of the difference. And I think that even Mike Israetel said it at some point, it makes all of the difference, because it's kind of your tolerance to a high level of anabolic steroids that can make a difference. If you're someone who can handle a shit ton of gear, you're probably doing better than the vast majority of other people who can't.
Yeah, I've heard that being spoken about. It's something that I'm incredibly ignorant about, but I think the way people have kind of thought about it before, similar to genetics, it's somewhat of a multiplier of your training, nutrition, your sleep. Then like whatever you do there, genetics is a multiplier. And then maybe on top of that, I guess, performance enhancing drugs are another multiplier. So yeah, it's kind of wild to even consider that. But I don't know how we got to that post now.
Once again, we're talking so often about anabolic steroids, and so I just want to make one thing clear: we're not those bitter natties who are just like bashing enhanced athletes all of the time. Because once again, I like to see this. many of the enhanced physiques are freaking aesthetically appealing, and some are just freakishly big, which aren't really aesthetically appealing, but it's just still cool to look at. And to be honest, there are much less natural athletes and physiques out there that I like to look at rather than enhanced athletes. So just to make my point clear, it's not to bash enhanced athletes, but once again, it's more to bash those people who still make the claim that anabolic steroids don't make that much of a difference. They're just adding a little bit, right? No, not if you take a shit ton of gear or you're responding like very, very severely to them. It always then surprises me, even though that I know better, it still surprises me whenever I see something like this, that you're going just like in a matter of a couple of weeks, going from being insanely big again, and once you come off, going down in just a couple of days, actually.
Yeah, it's exactly as you're saying here. It's similar to the people who claim that their results are just a factor of hard work and they're working harder than you. It's nothing related to their genetics, but like that's the natural kind of version of it. Is you can't discount your genetics. Like that is part of the equation. And it's same here. Like you can't say, oh, the reason I'm so much bigger than every other like juiced up guy is because of my smarts of training and nutrition. Like it's absolutely that, and it's not something else outside of that or whatever, you know. You just have to recognize that's a factor that plays a big role. So yeah, I'm very much in agreement. And yeah, it's funny because you mentioned the look of coming off them after having been on them, but it's also, I see transformations of people who are like pretty good naturals going on, and that's when I'm like, whoa, okay, that would be that's quite nice. Like getting an extra, the amount of muscle people
especially
gain in
when
a
those
short period of
people
time
were accused of being unnatty before, and then they are finally going on, and then it's like, oh shit, yeah, I'm taking that back. Sorry.
That was
now
Jared
I see
Feather,
what it
right?
looks like.
Jared was always like, people were like he's clearly on gear, whatever, and then he goes on. It's like, oh, okay. Like he's just, I don't know, added a third to his muscularity in like a number of months.
That's true. Crazy. That's true.
But anything else you've seen in the world of the fitness world? Nothing really.
No. I had something in mind, but because of today, I'm getting old, right? This thing when you need to leave your house and you are physically active after like 3 hours of being physically active, and you're being old, all the older dudes here on the podcast, and also of course females, can attest to that. You're just like, so leave me be for like the next 30 days. I need to recover now. That's the way that it is. This is why, don't blame me for having forgotten about what it is that I actually wanted to talk about.
I had one thing in mind actually, but it's not fitness and training related. It's I think someone asked me, actually if we need questions, I have a Q&A open on my Instagram. You know, something that frustrates me with Instagram, Pascal, is almost on stories specifically, the more I put in my story, and I like putting stuff in my story, I like answering questions, like I just enjoy that. But the more I put on there, the less people that see it. Instagram hurts your reach when you put more in your story. Also, I think people give up. If you have like a long story, people are like, fuck that shit. I could watch like 20 stories from you. So I used to have a rule of 10 max stories a day. That was like my rule. Whereas now I'm like 5 is my max. So like I'll answer maybe one question versus answering like 2 or 3. But yeah, anyway, Instagram frustrates me for that reason. But someone did ask, is there any new animes we're watching and stuff? And last week, obviously, we spoke about anime and movies for a while. And I don't know if you've seen it yet, but the one I caught up with, and actually the new Demon Slayer's out, but I haven't watched it yet. But I caught up with My Hero Academia, which I think you're up to date with. Have you seen the first 2 episodes of the new season 7?
The first
How did you like them?
Not the second.
Oh, you've seen
one.
the first one. Okay.
It was already the second one. No, first 2 ones. Exactly.
You've seen the first 2.
Yeah, where she is then fighting already. In the first one, she was actually coming to the fight scene, right? But the second one is where she's fighting, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah, I guess we want to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm trying to speak in mysteries.
Yeah.
She could be anyone.
I was already Googling to find a photo of her to put on my story because I was saying how I enjoyed it. And then as I was Googling her name, some additional words came up. I was like, fuck you. You've spoiled like the next like episodes or whatever.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, I kind of knew what was going to happen.
But the thing is, I can already assume what's going to happen to her simply because it's that early in the season. And she's fighting against, man, we are speaking in mysteries. That is just so fucking boring for the listeners when it's just like she and he is fighting XYZ, like.
Star and Stripes. How did you like the episodes though?
Pretty cool. Yeah. Enjoyed also her. She's freaking big. Still looking good.
She is jacked.
I never really thought that I would actually find a very, very muscular female like this attractive, but I do. Yes, she is an anime character. I know, call me weird, but that's just the way that it is.
She is very jacked. She would be a bodybuilder doing very well. And I liked her quirk as well. I like the quirks. I think they're interesting. Like they're all over the fucking shop. The animators just make up whatever shit they want.
Yeah,
but it's great.
I mean, the most interesting, or one of the most interesting, what is it called again? Skill tiers is from Hunter x Hunter, I think. It's very interesting overall, but also very complex.
Really
but
complex,
the thing that is even more complex, in my opinion, is Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm reading the manga, and there are so often passages in there that I simply don't understand, and I have to Google it because I don't know what it is that they. So I understand it, but not in the sense that I could explain it to someone else, because then I understand the words, what they are saying, but I don't really get it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I sometimes have to Google things, and that happens so often in Jujutsu Kaisen because they are also then throwing in and introducing so many new words for the first time when they are then explaining something. And once again, I'm reading the manga, and it doesn't really get any kind of better, right? You would assume like, okay, you're watching the anime, maybe it's better explained in the manga. It isn't. And it's also, they are very, very much kind of like, who the fuck thought of these kind of things?
That's why I appreciated My Hero Academia, is that they almost over-explain it. Like if they just explained it once, I probably wouldn't have got it. But they explain it so many times, I'm like, okay, like I've over-understood what's going on here. But I kind of like that versus, like you said in Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm like, I'm just lost. Like, just, it looks cool. Like, keep going.
There's one character, you know, and she has like an ability, or her sorceress magic. What is it called again? Sorceress. Her skills, has something to do with a star alignment. Like the distance from the Earth to the stars is different, and then the following sequence needs to be in a special order in order then to actually get to your target. It's completely fucked up, you know. A Megumi figures that one out, and you think like, who the hell would ever figure that out in a matter of a couple of minutes while fighting the other person? Never, but this is anime, you know, totally over the edge. And this is also what One Punch Man is always playing with. One Punch Man is a satire most of the time to the over-exaggeration and the fucked upness of especially shonen anime.
Yeah, I think I watched One Punch Man too early in my anime watching kind of career, because I basically had only watched maybe Dragon Ball and not much else. So I kind of got that it was satire, but not fully. And I didn't really know anything about it. I hadn't heard anyone talk about it. Whereas now I think I'd find it so much more hilarious.
I am looking very much forward to season number 3. Because I'm reading also the manga, and it is very much getting wild. And the animations on One Punch Man have always been good in the past, and they would probably only continue to get better, especially with the fights that are coming up. Something to very much look out for if ever then season number 3 is coming out. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that I'm trying to keep up with. Oh, actually, I am watching, have you seen Mob Psycho?
Yes.
So I'm kind of using that in like if I've got a bit of time and it's just on in the background. It's kind of just a funny. Like,
I mean, it's
not
from
that
the maker
serious.
of One Punch Man, and
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of just like he's OP.
there are very, very cool animations as well.
It's just funny. Like I just find it funny. So I'm kind of enjoying that one. But
have you watched Ninja Kamui?
No, I haven't.
Don't.
Okay.
Because it was so many people were just like hyping it up. Started watching it, and it's utter garbage. Like honestly, the animations and the fight scenes looking beautifully, but everything, there are so many plot holes. It doesn't really make sense. You don't really care for the characters, and in the end, it's just like, I don't care, right? And that is often to me something that is very much poorly done. So Steve, we are talking once again so much about kind of animes and all that kind of shit. Have you watched Godzilla -1?
No, I haven't.
Highly recommended to every listener out there. A little bit of background, a little bit of background story to it. It is made by a Japanese studio, so basically originally done, not like the Hollywood Godzilla. And they only had a budget for around like $15 million, and also had only a team of like 35 people. And they made a piece that blows each and every Hollywood blockbuster out of their socks. You have to watch this movie. The special effects are mind-blowing for that budget that they had, and also for the team that they had, and also the storyline, the acting is so well done, and also then the sound design and stuff like that. It is so well done, so well done. It has been such a lovely surprise, and it's kind of for me personally, it was lovely to see, because it was just like a punch in the mouth of Hollywood, because Hollywood is throwing around with those 200, 300, 500 million budgets and just create shit and garbage since like 10 years already. They're squeezing out, milking out shit. Like take a look at all of these superhero movies over the past 5 to 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Everything's such garbage, such poor CGI. And you watch this, $15 million, 35 people on the team, and it's just looking absolutely insane, Steve. And also, once again, the storyline was freaking amazing. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. It was probably the best kaiju movie I've ever seen.
It's funny. I just put it on my list, and the thing on my list above it is Ninja Kamui. Someone had obviously recommended it to me, so I've got it in my list. I just haven't started watching it.
Yeah.
And talking of Googling things, I actually need to Google about Evangelion, which I have finished, but I'm just like, I don't really know what happened towards the whole story. I need to understand it a bit better.
I'm not the biggest fan of those mecha warriors, which then also started to get incorporated into Ninja Kamui. And that was already a little bit off-putting, but it's not always bad, but I'm not the biggest fan of mecha. What is it? Mecha suits, mecha designs, and all that kind of stuff.
I don't really know. But yeah, it's similar to Star Wars actually bringing it back. The animated series of Star Wars, like The Bad Batch, which I finished the other week. I think I maybe mentioned it. Like the build-up of the characters and the character development is to the point where I'm like, you know, when you're really emotionally attached to characters, and it ended and you're like, I don't want it to end. It was a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
So just Star Wars are doing a good job with their animation there, at least. But yeah, not so much with the films. I'll be interested to see what they do with the next one, because I think it can't get much worse.
I still haven't watched the last Star Wars movie. So like from the series, right? And not something like, I don't know, Rogue One or so.
Yeah.
It is still the Star Wars universe, but I wouldn't really count it towards then the normal plot line. And I still haven't watched the last one. And I probably never will, because I don't really want to. I only heard bad things about it. So
I think if you watched it, I'd want to watch you watching it, just because I think you'd get so fed up through the whole thing.
What the fuck is that meme from The Office, where Steve Carell is just like screaming and shouting, no, no, no. That would be me probably.
Yeah. Like it's got nice moments in there and some of it's cool, but like there's just too many things in there that you'd be like, this is just too much, Disney.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Cool.
That's our movie and anime segment.
Yeah. Let's leave it here because, I mean, people, the ones who are still sticking around, I very much appreciate it. But I also absolutely understand that there are people definitely being put off by that anime chat and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, right, we don't really have any kind of sponsors on that team. We are not doing it for monetary purposes. It's just like two dudes talking about bodybuilding, talking about training, nutrition, and then also other things that just interest us. Either you tune in without any kind of expectations, or you don't, because there are plenty of other podcasts who just solely focus on one topic, and that's totally all right. But for those who are still here, who are always tuning in because they just like that format that we're putting out, very much grateful, very much appreciated. Thank you very much, guys.
I'm not going to give people a word this week because I think I've overdone it a little bit last week. Didn't get too many LOTRs.
No.
It was a bit of a challenging maybe word to even have. So if you are listening and you would have written a word, you just give us a thumbs up.
That's the thing. Easiest option, you know. Cheers, guys.
Or a review on Spotify. Yes, thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Losing weight fast while maintaining muscle mass. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? It isn't though. It's reality and we know how to do it. And we will help you achieve this. The Minicut Movement is an 8-week fat loss program to make you lose a huge chunk of fat while maintaining muscle mass at the same time. We will support you from the beginning to the end so that you see the results you would like to and come out of it much stronger. You'll receive a fully automated spreadsheet that is based on your nutritional needs. You can choose between 6 different male and female training templates. Over 30 videos will guide you through each and every single step of the Minicut so that you're getting the most out of your journey and that you always know what to do. But the best thing is that you can start whenever you want. The Minicut Movement is open 24/7. So if you want to learn more or you're ready to sign up, hit the link in the description below. So let's revive stronger together.